I tried. Should I just keep going? Can you edit this out?
An engineer, a math professor, and a sweet corn breeder. With our powers combined, we are three guys and a bottle of bourbon.
What could go wrong?
Brian, what did you buy?
All right. Tonight we want to talk with everyone about just kind of 6 common mistakes that new bourbon drinkers make. And mistakes we're looking for you to potentially avoid. Maybe they're mistakes we've made or they're just mistakes that are common. So mistake number 1 that I want to talk about is just kind of staying too small with your purchases too long, okay? If you stay, the tendency sometimes when you're like, okay, I want to start drinking bourbon, I want to just drink, straight, I'm not wanting to mix it or anything, is maybe staying in the shallow end a little bit too long, where you're consistently maybe only buying $10 stuff, $15 stuff, $20 stuff, and just because you're not wanting to branch out into maybe the $30 level, the $25 level, the $40 level, and kind of there's usually kind of a big increase once you actually break into that $25, $35, $45 level. So if you stay kind of just in that $15, $20 level for too long, the tendency might be that you just don't find something that is palatable, especially as a new drinker. So I would encourage you to maybe ask around, look at some reviews if you're new, and maybe look into maybe purchasing that $25, $30, $35 bottle to see, if you really like something at that level. Because my concern would be if you stay too long on too small of purchases, you're just going to go, yeah, I just don't get the appeal. But if you're going to jump to that $30 level, all of a sudden, I think you might be able to go, oh, now I see what this is about. Now I have a bourbon I can truly appreciate. So that would kind of be my mistake number 1, is just staying too small with your purchases for too long.
And I'm going to provide a juxtaposition to that and say, don't always discount the cheap bourbons. There's some really good bourbons at affordable prices, less than $30, that, a lot of people, me included, spend time chasing these higher priced bourbons, the unicorns, the things that you're attracted to, the high priced case at your local liquor store. You go there first, you see what's available, but don't discount the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond for $20. Don't discount the Old Forester 100 or the Old Forester Rye, the Wild Turkey 101, the Rare Breed. I mean, things that are reasonably priced are going to give you, granted, they're not going to necessarily wow. There are some really nice bourbons, obviously, at that price point, $80 and above, but we don't drink those on a daily basis. Well, if you're in our income level, you don't drink those on a daily basis. So, you're going to enjoy the flavors, the nose. You're going to experience the palates of those different bourbons, and there's some really nice bourbons at less than $40, and don't be afraid of going to those and experiencing those, tasting them. See what your palate enjoys and appreciates. Don't always look at the brand and the price as your indicator.
Yep. And I've got 3 and 4 here. So for 3, what I would say is give things time. So a perfect example is Elijah Craig here. So when we started about a year and a half ago, we tasted Elijah Craig and we thought it was absolute trash. But we let the bottle open, we let it develop, we let our palates develop, because when you first try doing this, all you're going to taste is alcohol, and that's it. And it tastes terrible. Give it time. When you taste anything and you develop muscle memory, which is the same thing with this, you're going to slowly develop the taste and get past the alcohol to other things. So give it time. Find a bottle, especially a cheap bottle, that you're interested in trying. For me, when I tried 4 years ago, it was Woodford Reserve. Find it, give it time, learn to appreciate it, find the nuances and everything like that. You're not going to learn to like this overnight, and that is okay. So anybody that's like, oh, you don't like that right away, don't listen to them. Give it your time. The other one that I would say for number 4 here is don't give in to the hype. With all the hype, there's going to be all these bottles that they want you to chase after left and right. Generally speaking, if you're new to bourbon, it's Buffalo Trace products. There's tons of products out there that are so much better than Buffalo Trace. Now, don't get me wrong. If you look at my shelf, I've got a ton of Buffalo Trace products. They're delicious. They're really good. But is it worth spending $70 on a Stag Junior when you can, for the same price, get an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof? No, I'm going to go Elijah Craig Barrel Proof every single time. So be willing to branch out and try new stuff. The more bottles you have, the less you drain a bottle, so it lasts longer. So that is a positive. So that is my 3 and 4.
Yeah, and my next one is I'm going to say open the bottle and enjoy it with good friends in a time that you guys can come together. So this is true of, I kind of came at bourbon later in my, I'm not that old, but later in my life, but first started drinking red wine and appreciated red wine. And this is true of wine, food, but I also find it true of bourbon. And it's the setting, the food, the moment, it makes it taste better. Like that just makes the moment. So with bourbon, open the bottle, enjoy it with some friends, enjoy it with some family. Like that makes everything taste better. So don't let the bottles collect dust on the shelf unless you truly are a collector. But that's, I think, for very few of us in this realm. Open the bottle, enjoy it with some people, enjoy it with those that you're close to. You'll find that it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, that's great because what is it? Every New Year's, if we can get together, the 3 of us always enjoy my Pappy 15, which is up there somewhere. Pappy 15 is great. And if you can find it, that's great. But I tell you what, it's even better with good friends. And when we run out of that, we got some Old Fitzgerald bottled and bottom we'll try. But even if it's just this Elijah Craig, it's the people you're with that make it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and and I would just echo some of that. Is nothing drives me more crazy when I have a friend that has a great bottle and he just is sitting on it and go, oh, I'm waiting for a special occasion, waiting for this special occasion, and then 5 years later, still waiting for that special occasion. Open up the bottle, drink it, enjoy it. That's why you bought it. And I completely agree. You can find good bottles in that $20 range, but I feel like it is a little bit hit or miss. If you're going below 20 or right at 20, there are a couple like the Evan Williams, maybe even the Wild Turkey. They're pretty good in that range, but a lot of times that $25 range, $30, $35 range, you're finding a much better product. So that's why I say don't stay too small too long with your purchase. But on the reverse end of that, don't go too big too soon. Okay. Which kind of echoes a little bit of what the other guys shared as well. But sometimes it's like,
and we're still talking bourbon, right?
I believe so. I mean, this might have parallels to other areas, but that those are more personal issues maybe that you need to work out. And so, but what I'm saying with bourbon is sometimes you'll meet that guy that's like, hey, I want to get into bourbon. So they go hunting, or they buy into the hype. And so it's like, I'm buying the $80 bottle, I'm buying the $100 bottle, I'm buying that $120 bottle. Or there's that person that walks in the store and says, hey, what's the best bottle you have? You're probably just not going to appreciate a lot of those bottles at the start. I know at least for me, I tasted some different bottles that were pretty expensive at the start. And it was like, I had a $20 bottle here, tried some of that. I had a $100 bottle here, tried some of that. A $50 bottle here, tried some of that. And I just didn't really know the difference or appreciate the difference. And so don't feel like to get into the bourbon game and to have one you can drink straight or on the rocks, that you have to make that huge purchase and go big right away. Explore the $20, $25, $30, $45 range. You can find a lot of good bourbons in that range. Ask around, figure out what you like, and know that what you like may develop over time. Kind of like TJ was talking about. Your palate will mature just like anything else the more you spend time drinking. So my encouragement really is just to keep drinking. and eventually you'll like it more.
Just keep drinking.
Is that fair? I mean, is that not true? The more you drink
Cheers.
the bourbon, the more you enjoy the bourbon.
Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Yep. And then some other caveats, like, so down the road here, we'll do the standard or YouTube channel podcast, whatever you want to call it, of how to find rare bourbons. I found a couple. Chuck and Brian have both found a couple, and we have different ways of doing that. So we'll gladly share that. But I think one really important one to note is because all three of us have different price ranges that we're willing to spend and budgets we're willing to go, which is an important one to say, which is have a budget and have an idea. Because if you don't have a budget, this hobby, because that's what it is a hobby, gets really addicting really quick, because there are so many good bourbons out there. And especially if you take Chuck's advice and start sharing it with friends, like every time I'm in the liquor store, I'm like, oh, that'd be really fun to share with the guys and everything like that. Give yourself a budget and try your best to stay within the budget. Otherwise, if you're currently married, you're going to wind up in the doghouse or in a ditch, which is not good. So really make sure that you kind of really decide how much you want to spend, because there's always going to be another bottle. Perfect example today, because I live in Louisville, I probably could have driven down to Bardstown to Willett and maybe picked up a Willett bottle or two, but they were charging like $100 to $800 for a bottle. When tomorrow I'm probably going to get away with 3 bottles of New Riff special release for $150. So really prioritize what you want to do, because there's tons of different flavors out there, and try them all, which I think both these guys agree with.
Yeah, 100%. You know, oh, sorry. But I was just saying 100%. Like, and if you are working with a budget, you know, if you're independently wealthy, that's great. If so, I would love to be your friend. But, you know, if not, you're working with a budget. And so understand just as you say yes to one bottle, you might be saying no to another bottle. You know, I had a chance, just like TJ, like I had a chance just this week to buy a rare bottle that was going to be about $125. I had it in my hand. I just couldn't pull the trigger, because that particular bottle, I just felt at that price point wasn't quite there, and there's some other things maybe I would rather get. And so, you know, you just kind of have to make that choice, stick in your budget.
I think the point is there will always be another limited release. There will always be something else, so it's okay.
Yep.
And I say that as much for me. This is a therapy session as much as it is for.
Yes, because we've all missed out on those limited releases and everything like that. And just like you guys, like, we hope we get Pappy and everything else that's super limited, but we've had it. We know it's a little overhyped. So trust me and trust us when we say there's other good stuff out there for the same price.
Yeah, maybe we end this with our philosophy on the secondary market. So we talk about value, and a lot of this is like, none of us here would pay secondary price for anything, because we know bourbons in that 20 to 40, even by the time you go up to $80 range, a lot of times you're paying secondary prices, you're into well over 150,
right?
Aren't worth it. Like, Weller Special Reserve is very good at its price point at less than $30.
Yes.
Do not pay secondary price for that. There are better bourbons at that price point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have a backup bottle of Weller Special Reserve. So like, I enjoy Weller Special, but not at that price.
And I think the other biggest caveat is patience. As long as you're willing to be patient, so try some of the other bourbons out there in the price range you're willing to spend. As long as you're patient, you're going to find Weller Special. You're going to find Weller 107. You're going to find all those bottles at MSRP. If you have to have it right now, then you're going to have to pay secondary market. But if you're willing to wait, and then you're going to appreciate it that much more, you can usually find it at MSRP. And that's what it's meant to be spent at. These industries put it at a price for a reason. Weller is great at its price point. I'm not going to spend way over its price point for what it is.
Yeah.
So, So with that, please click the subscribe button, watch a couple of our other videos, comment, let us know what you like, what you don't like, everything like that. Like we said, in the future, we're definitely going to do how to hunt some rare bourbon. We have just kind of knocked out who's going to get what for the bottled and bond bracket, which is coming up. And there will be a couple other reviews because Chuck has sent us about 15 more bottles that we got to get through. So we're excited to do that. So keep tuning in every week, and thanks for the support. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
Cheers.